At this time, we have some honored guests with us today. We have some local officials. The next person I'm going to invite up to the speaker's roster here is our local assemblyman, the deputy majority leader, a proud Brentwood High School alumni, and always a supporter of you students and this high school and this great community. At this time, I'll ask to come up Mr. Phil Ramos.
How we doing, my peeps from Brentwood? Are you guys proud? Are you Brentwood proud? Parents over there, you proud of them? How about over there? I am so proud of you, myself, being a Brentwood graduate myself, who went through the schools here, grew up in Brentwood. For me, it's inspiring to see so many young people completing their education, completing their dreams and their parents' dreams. Because if you live in Brentwood, your parents have struggled, have gone through all sorts of obstacles, have gone through difficulties, and all those struggles are embodied in their dreams for you. And today, you are keeping true to that dream by making something of yourself and having this first milestone of your high school diploma. This is just the first step. It is just the first step. And it is up to you, the same way you did now and held down your education, it's up to you to continue your education and continue to make something of yourself and continue to be successful and take care of that family who struggled so much for you. It is totally up to you. You know, your education is something that they cannot take away from you. No matter what is thrown in your path, no matter what ups and downs you have in life, your education you can take anywhere. But it's much more than your education. And education alone is not as successful as if you are a man or a woman with principle. And you must never, ever forget the struggles of your parents, the struggles of people like you, the struggles of your people, the struggles of the people of Brentwood, and you have an obligation. It is up to you to pay it forward in whatever profession you go into. Whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, that's one thing, to be able to get a good job and do the right thing for your family. But those who rise to the top are those who stand up on principle and go far beyond their nuclear circle of their family and do something that impacts society. That is what makes greatness. And greatness lies in each and every one of you. You know, if successful people, if elected officials just relied on getting a position and relied on popularity and didn't rely on principles, we would be a very different country today. If we left it up to popular demand to free the slaves, they would not have done it. Men and women of principle stood up and said, this is wrong. And regardless of the popularity, we have to do what we have to do for humanity. And they made a change. And if they waited for popularity and everyone stayed in their own bubble trying to be successful, trying to do for their family, and nobody thought about the bigger picture, we would have never had the Civil Rights Act. We would have never ended segregation. It was people of principle, people like yourself, who stood up and said, regardless of the popularity, we have to stand up and do what is right within our respective professions. So it's important. It's up to you to get that education, and what you do with it is what makes you a regular person or a great person. And there are many, many great persons in this audience here tonight. You know, this year, I found myself in that position of having to stand up on principle as well. And just a couple of weeks ago, standing up on principle, standing against popular demand, we now have written into law in New York State the DREAM Act and license for all. Because we should not rely on what the mob mentality says. We have to rely on humanity, regardless of the fact of what the popular demand or the mob mentality says. And this has affected many lives, and that's why I urge you, because it is up to you. Nobody is going to do it for you. It is up to you to get your education and to stand up in those principles in whatever respective fields you're in. And don't be limited by the negativity around you. In Brentwood, I grew up here. I know the negativity we grow up around. The only time the press comes around is when somebody gets killed or there's a gang member or something like that. But when we have thousands of people going on to college in a diverse community, we don't see that on the front page of the paper. But you are going to hold up your heads high, not just because you're strong, but because you're Brentwood strong. If people allowed the negativity to hold them back, we would not have had historic people who moved the world, who moved our nation. Our president, President Obama, coined the phrase, "Yes, we can." And when they said a black man could not become president, he stood up and said, "Yes, we can." When they said a black man with a Bible in his hand, they said that you can't cause any change, you can't create a Civil Rights Act, Martin Luther King said, "Yes, we can." Here in Brentwood, look at the many milestones we have. When they told Dr. Akil, when they told many people in this community, you cannot be successful and run a school district of 10,000, 20,000 students, Dr. Akil said, "Yes, we can." Mr. Lochner said, "Yes, we can." When they said that a Brentwood boy who grew up here, a Puerto Rican kid who graduated from Brentwood High School, cannot rise to become the deputy majority leader of the state assembly, I said, "Yes, we can." And when they tell you that you cannot succeed, what are you going to say? Put your hands together for the 2019 Brentwood graduating class. May God bless you. Sí se puede.